Hello and welcome to my channel. This is the first video I'm posting on my 2019 B&W 440i. I know there's a bunch of videos on how people make 500, 600, 700 horsepower, but I did want to go over how I made 500 horsepower out of this car, and I definitely did keep it to a budget. So if that's something that you're interested in, some of the information I might have for you could definitely be relatively helpful. So I'm going to pop the hood and show everybody what's going on under there. So more or less I've been going for the OEM Plus look on this car. So everything under here actually does look really stock. I'm sure most people can kind of assume where this is going with the downpipe. So I do have a Catless downpipe on the car. It's 4.5 inches. I think 4.5 inches is pretty good size. I know a lot of people do 5 and 5.5. However, with how the exhaust tapers down to 3 inches anyways, I don't think it matters too much, just as long as it's relatively close to the original size of the catalytic converter that was in there. I do have a Dinan drop-in filter under here. I picked that up for about 30 bucks. It's actually done really good, increased the noise on the car quite a bit. I'm not too big into super loud turbo noise, so that was definitely the option for me. And I also don't see too much of a point in getting a full-fledged intake on the car. I might eventually, but as for now, I'm pretty content with how that's going. On these B58s, it's definitely needed to address fueling if you want to make some power. So I'll go ahead and show you guys what I have done as far as that goes. Now that I have my engine cover and the DME cover removed, I can show you some of the few things that I have done under here. I do have a TU pump. I got this thing off of a 2021 BMW M340. Unfortunately, that car was crashed, and I contacted that owner and did purchase this off of him for about 20 bucks. Long story short, the connector on his high pressure fuel pump was broken, so he did not think it was reusable. However, I just ended up purchasing it for 20 bucks, and I was able to move the connector there from my stock high pressure fuel pump to this pump, and everything's been working fine as far as that goes. So definitely a good deal I got there. You might notice also that I do have some wiring going on here from under that DME cover. I do have the MHD CAN Flex fuel sensor. That's definitely the bread and butter of how to make this power. You can do solid tunes with no flex fuel and just run ethanol. However, where I live in Arizona, so we do have E85, but it's kind of sparse. So sometimes you'll get in a predicament where you need to put 91 in the car, or a lot of the gas stations here only read E50. Some of them are full E85. So it's definitely a good investment to have a flex fuel sensor, but it kind of just depends on where you live. But you can see it down there. I have it installed about as low as I can. I honestly don't want people really seeing that I have it. And the wiring harness here, I did also get this whole setup here off of that M340 that was crashed. As many of you may know, the wiring harness is a little bit different between the F chassis and the G chassis BMWs. So I did end up having to repin pretty much this entire harness here. It took me about 2 hours, but I did save quite a bit of money doing it that way. So I got the TU pump for 20 bucks and $320 for that setup there. So definitely very, very, very budget friendly if you can just stick it out and find the good deals like I did. It's not every day that you're going to come across a $20 high pressure fuel pump though, so keep that in mind. Most people are going to end up spending from $200 to $500 on one of those. I did go ahead and just put everything back on. As y'all can see, now that you know the mods that are under there, I do think it's very impressive with these cars how you can make 500 horsepower and keep pretty much everything that you have hidden. Of course, the downpipe is something that will be noticeable. However, if you route the O2s correctly and make everything look nice under there, you can have it looking pretty stock. So I think, you know, if you live in areas like California or something like that, where they do check under your hood, I think with this setup, you are going to be pretty safe. But obviously, definitely, it is a little bit of a caution running a Catless downpipe for anybody who plans to do it. I'm going to close the hood and go over a few things on the outside. Of course, these exterior mods aren't going to help you make any horsepower. However, I did them because it's 4 Series and I definitely wanted to make it look more sporty. I would not gone for this look if I ended up buying the 3 Series. However, you know, I wanted to make it look as sporty as possible. I'm going to make a separate video on everything that I have for the outside, but I do have a carbon fiber lip. I have Odhan wheels. Can't remember the actual design of the wheel, like the number that Odhan has. However, I do think that they look pretty good and the price was super reasonable for them. I also have a carbon fiber rear splitter, as well as carbon fiber diffuser. I know a lot of you are noticing on my 440 how I'm missing a whole exhaust tip. Long story short, the exhaust shop that I had the car at broke one, so I am waiting for them to purchase that replacement. This only happened about a week ago, and they said they're waiting about a week to get everything in, so I'll be back there and get that installed correctly soon. I'm sure in the beginning of the video, some of you may have noticed that the car is relatively noisy. It's due to having the Catless downpipe as well as a resonator delete on the car. If you do plan to get a resonator delete, it is going to be pretty loud, even if you keep the stock muffler. I know a lot of people tend to think if you keep the stock muffler, the car's going to stay quiet. That is not true whatsoever. I'm actually concerned on how loud it would be if you fully straight pipe the car. So for me, this is honestly a little bit too loud. Might get like a vibrant resonator to put under there. But for some of you, this will be perfect. I'll have some more sound clips later in the video so that everybody can see it. Not sure if I mentioned it before, but I do have a carbon fiber diffuser as well. I think it looks pretty good. I did quad outlets. I know it's not necessarily true to BMW. However, I like the way that it looks. I know that it's definitely more of a M-car thing, but I thought it would look pretty damn good on my 4 Series, and I don't think I messed up too much. I didn't do anything too crazy with it. I just wanted quad tips. I do have another mod that's a little bit more for M-cars, but I did do the carbon fiber mirror caps. Again, I'll make a video on everything that I have for the outside of the car. Not going to include it in this video because it'll just be too long, and as well as the options on the car. So if you haven't bought one of these yet, there's definitely some good options that you're going to look for on the interior. I'll make a whole video on it. I'll quickly just show a few of the things that are definitely my favorites in here. Make the car a lot easier to drive, and just stuff that's peace of mind things. I have the digital dash, love it. Of course, it doesn't flicker like it does in the video. It's just the, you know, hertz on it reacting with the camera. I also do have the heads-up display. Can't see it right now. Shows up when you turn on the car. I'll do that real quick. But you can see it right there. But do love those things about it. There's a few other things that I have. Again, I'll make a separate video on it. Not going to touch on everything today, but the sport mode changes it. Absolutely beautiful. Love the way that the sport mode screen looks. You can see that it does the whole thing on there. Unfortunately, it doesn't show the exact model of car that I have. I'm gonna look into how to change that. If anybody has any advice on how to get that changed, that'd be pretty cool. The last thing I'm going to touch on, this is definitely a performance mod on these cars, and arguably the most important. The second you tune the car, make sure that you have adequate tires. I have Toyo PROXES Sports. I freaking love these tires. These tires are great for the power that the car pushes. If I was making more horsepower, something a little bit more substantial might be needed, but for 500 horsepower, these tires work great. Great. They grip well, they handle well, they corner well. I'm a huge fan of Toyo tires. I've had them on a few of my other project cars before, and they've always done really good for me. They're a little bit on the pricey side, and they do wear a little bit quick. However, if you're looking for something that's going to make you, feel like you have good contact with the road, good grip, good pretty much everything, the Toyo PROXES Sport is definitely going to be a really good option for you. Another good tire I've seen people running is the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. Those are also really good, but if you didn't know this, enlighten y'all with a little hidden secret about that tire. Make sure you're getting the one with the star on it. Some of the tires have stars on them, some of them don't. The tire with the BMW star is far more grippy. There's actually videos on YouTube of people doing track tests with those tires, and if you do plan to get Michelins, make sure you're getting the ones with the star on it. Same goes for Pirelli and any other brand that BMW uses from the factory. They do have tires with the star on them. It basically means it's BMW approved, and when it's BMW approved, it has different rubber compounds. But this is a 240 treadwear, which is quite good. It's a AAA tire. These are the main things that you're going to be looking for when you're buying tires for your car, but these tires definitely work really well. And if you're interested on the size that I'm running, they're 265, 35, 19, so decently thick, a little bit thicker than the original tires on the car. I also do plan on making a wheel guide for these, and that will also include the tires as well, because the tires definitely go along with the wheels. Quickly show you the fitment that I have on there right now. It's not exactly what I want, and if you need any help with your 3 or 4 series picking out wheels, I can definitely help you with that. I'll have a link to my Instagram on here, so you guys can just message me on there and I can help you with anything. I do want to get spacers in the front. I think the front doesn't fit too well. The rear though fits great. Again, I know this stuff isn't necessarily going to help you make any more power, but increasing your handling on the road is so needed in these cars, especially if you have a rear wheel drive like I do. But other than that, I don't have anything else done to the car. I've tried to keep it as stock as possible. I've been loving the stock feel of this car. I have a few plans in the future, but when I do those things that I have planned, make separate videos on all of it, explain any benefits, drawbacks, any of that. So if you're interested in future things, do like the video and subscribe to the channel. Definitely help me a lot. Another thing, if you're interested in the color of the car, it's a Glacier Metallic Silver. It's one of my favorite stock colors from BMW for this time. I think it looks so good. It's definitely very aircrafty. I like to compare this car to a jet a lot, just because of the way that looks. Get you guys a angle from the rear. Oh, and for suspension, sorry, I'm kind of jumping around a lot. There's a lot to hit at on this car. I didn't go all crazy with the suspension because I don't think that these are going to be my forever wheels. I'm planning to get something a little bit nicer in the future, but I did want to increase the width of the rear tire. I needed tires, and I figured if I'm getting tires, I might as well just get the wheels to go along with it. So I did only throw H&R lowering springs on the car at this time. I know it's a pretty go-to setup for a lot of people on these cars. Would like to get coilovers eventually, but I think the fitment isn't too bad on the H&Rs, especially in the front. The front does look really good. So if you want to do suspension and want something pretty cheap, they're actually really easy to install. I installed them myself. I've done everything on this car myself. Everything's been super easy, very straightforward. These cars are honestly not bad at all to work on whatsoever. So again, like with any help that y'all need with even installation stuff, I can help you with that. So again, Instagram will be in the description, but I'm gonna go set up the camera, get y'all some sound clips, and then go drive it for a minute so you guys can hear everything and see how the car acts. And that's all. Now that we are back in the car and the license plate is back on, take you guys for a quick little drive. It's not full throttle, but it definitely does have a whole lot of low end. Something to look out for when you're modding the car. If you do a E85, you're not going to gain much on the low end, to be completely honest. However, the biggest gain that you're going to get is going to be on the top end, definitely. Really do like the way this car sounds. Like I had mentioned before, it's a little bit too rowdy for my tastes, but definitely still good. Well, throw in a quick little anti-lag here for you guys so you can see what that's like. We're just driving normally now. I did have to put the phone down. There was a cop right as I did the pull on the anti-lag. But yeah, this car is really fun. I definitely do want it to be faster eventually, but for right now, I've really been enjoying it. And I think if you guys want 500 horsepower of your B58, it's definitely very affordable to get done. If you guys would like to see more videos like this, I can definitely make more. Thank you for watching. If you did like the video, subscribing to the channel and leaving a like would definitely help and make me want to make more. So have a great rest of y'all's day.